These emotions are triggered unconsciously in response to associations that have formed. The associations are made based on the determination in the nervous system that this thing that's happening, whether it's an expression on somebody's face or a particular color or a sound, as a song that you hear, or somebody expressing their political views, or the number in your bank account, or whatever it might be, there's an association formed in your nervous system between that thing and the idea that your survival is under threat. So this does not have to make logical sense rationally. It's just that if the association is formed in your nervous system, then guess what? Every time you encounter that trigger, you're going to experience the emotion, either consciously or unconsciously. So if all you know is indulgent strategies, then you will probably be conscious of the emotion. But if you have developed very thorough suppression strategies, then what can happen is you will not even register the emotion consciously because your nervous system is trying to protect you. Think about this. If you learned that indulging anger is dangerous, your nervous system is not going to allow you to know about the anger. Instead, your nervous system is going to automatically overlay your suppression strategy to protect you, which is great, except then you have all these symptoms and you don't know why you're having them. And by the way, I mean, I should just elaborate briefly. So the symptoms they're not just physical symptoms and social symptoms, but this is also directly connected to the things that you want in your life. So you can create all kinds of subconscious blocks to the things that you want because you have formed unconscious associations with those things, right? So consciously, you might say, people give me shit about this, but that I use the $1,000,000 example, but please, it's just a fill-in. You can use this. It's a stand-in for whatever your thing is. Okay, so if you want $1,000,000 consciously, you're like, look, my life would be better. My life sucks if I'm worrying about paying the bills. If I had $1,000,000, I'd be at ease, have less stress. My family would be happier. Everything would be better. Consciously, it makes perfect sense. But if subconsciously you have associations with whatever you think you need in order to have the money, even including the money itself, guess what? Ain't gonna happen. And every time you try hard, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna get sick. You're gonna get tired. You're gonna have an accident. Something's gonna happen every time, right? You'll make some progress. You get some money in the bank, and then something's gonna happen to make sure that you can't move forward on it because your subconscious is trying to protect you from the threat. So the emotions play an enormous role in everything in your life because, like I said, it's this very primitive system. So you cannot outthink this. If you try to outthink your emotions, ain't gonna happen because your rational thinking, is happening too late. Like by the time your rational thinking kicks in, it's like, I mean, that's like milliseconds too late, and that's forever. That whole emotional chain of events has already left the station long ago before you can think about it. And there's a reason for that, because if you have to think about things rationally in order to protect yourself to survive, none of us would be here, right? Like if you had to rationally think, okay, gee, there's the bear. Gee, that bear looks angry. Huh, the bear is coming toward me. Is this a threat? It's too late. You're already eaten at that point. So it's in many ways, it's in your best interest that things are the way that they are. However, that maybe on the surface seems really like bad. Like, what are you going to do about that? It's too late. It's all just how it is and you just have to suffer it. But that's not actually true. So what I'm proposing is that you have to kind of play a longer term game when it comes to your emotions. A lot of the time, what happens is we make the mistake of we're trying to deal with the emotion or the symptom as it is right now. Like we're trying to, like if you experience anger and you say, "Oh, I don't want to feel anger," then you might be trying to deal with the anger that's already here. But the anger is already here. Like I said, that train has left the station. You're not going to change that. It's already happened. So, all of the hormones are already flooding the system. It's already happened. By the time you are consciously aware of the fact that you're experiencing anger or the symptoms, everything is already in play. And you're not going to you're not going to change that right now. So if your focus is on what is happening right now and you're trying to change that or resist that, that does not work. And I think this is where many of us get stuck is we're so hyper focused on what's happening right now and reacting to it. And so we actually play right in to affirming that what's happening is correct. Okay, so I'll just explain how that makes sense. So if you're experiencing, so if you have an association that something is a threat, and it's like something stupid. It's not how to say stupid, but if you see like the the little teacup dog, and your brain registers that this is a threat, right? Like this is going to kill me. The teacup dog is not going to kill you, right? I mean, rationally, the teacup dog is not going to kill you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking those tiny little dogs, the kinds that like people keep in their purses and things like that. So that dog is not going to kill you. But if your brain has that association, then as soon as you see the dog or think about the dog, then your body is flooded with all the hormones. So you're having that experience. It's just a little dog. It's just a tiny little dog. Just think little dog, tiny little dog that's harmless, couldn't hurt you. So if you are trying to fight with that, then think about what that is registering as within your nervous system. If you're fighting with it, if you're saying, I shouldn't be angry, anger is bad, this is terrible, I have to get rid of it, I have to calm down. What you're doing is you're affirming that there is a problem, right? This is why what you resist persists, because you are affirming that this is in fact a problem. And so you're just letting your own nervous system know, yep, keep this one. This is important. Remember, this is a real threat because obviously it is because I'm stressing out. I'm freaking out. Consciously, you might think that you're just trying to stop the anger or the fear or whatever. Consciously, you think, I'm just trying to stop the anxiety. But subconsciously, what you're doing is you're saying, there's a real threat. I have to respond in this way because there's a real threat. I have to react to the anxiety as a threat because there is a threat. So it just stays stuck in this vicious cycle. So you want to play a longer game, not a short-term game.